You just spent $6 on a cup of coffee, but the farmer who grew the beans may earn less than 20 cents. So where does the rest of the money actually go? The answer reveals one of the most fascinating economic systems hiding in plain sight. Coffee is the world's favorite drink, enjoyed billions of times every single day. Every morning, millions of people begin their day with one simple habit. But every cup begins thousands of miles away. Growing coffee is slow. A coffee tree can take years before producing its first harvest, years of work before earning a single dollar. Most premium coffee is still picked entirely by hand. It's physically demanding work, often done on the steep mountain slopes. And every harvest faces risks from weather, pests, and plant diseases. Even after all that effort, there's no guarantee of a good income. After harvest, the cherries must be processed almost immediately. The beans are washed, dried, sorted, and prepared for export. Only then does the global business begin. The beans leave the farm and enter an international supply chain. They travel thousands of miles before reaching consumers. Every step adds cost and creates another business earning its share. Next come traders, the middlemen connecting farms with global buyers. They combine coffee from thousands of farms into massive shipments. And coffee prices can change long before a single bean reaches your cup. Global commodity markets can determine a farmer's income from thousands of miles away. Then comes roasting, the stage where coffee begins to gain much of its value. So if everyone along the chain adds value, why do so many coffee farmers still struggle to earn a living? The answer may surprise you. Coffee isn't priced by farmers, it's priced by a global market that never sleeps. Every day, buyers and sellers around the world influence the value of coffee. If demand increases, prices can rise almost instantly. But when supply exceeds demand, prices can collapse just as fast. A record harvest may sound like good news, but too much coffee often means lower prices for everyone. On the other hand, a single frost or drought can send prices soaring worldwide. Weather thousands of miles away can affect the price of your morning coffee. Many farmers have little control over the price they eventually receive. Decisions made in financial centers ripple all the way to remote villages. Between the farm and your cup are many businesses, each adding costs and profits. Everyone takes a share before the coffee finally reaches you. The surprising part? The farmer often receives the smallest portion. By the time coffee reaches a cafe, its value has multiplied many times. The bean may be the same, but the experience becomes the product. People aren't only paying for coffee, they're paying for convenience, comfort, and atmosphere. Every extra service adds value that customers are willing to pay for. Sometimes the logo itself becomes more valuable than the coffee inside. Two nearly identical coffees can sell for completely different prices, and millions of customers willingly pay the difference. That's because branding creates emotional value, not just physical value. People buy a stories, identity, and lifestyle as much as they buy coffee. Yet the people who grow the beans often benefit the least from those powerful brands. If branding creates billions of dollars in value, could farmers ever claim a bigger share? The answer lies in the next chapter. But not all coffee follows the same economic rules. Some beans become premium products worth several times more than ordinary coffee. These beans begin with extraordinary care on the farm. Only the highest quality cherries make the cut. Higher quality often means higher prices. For some farmers, premium coffee can dramatically increase their income. This is where fair trade enters the story. Fair trade aims to provide farmers with more stable prices and community support. For many communities, it has made a meaningful difference. But the system isn't perfect. Certification can be expensive and difficult for small farms. Many producers simply can't afford to join. Another approach is changing the industry. In direct trade, coffee roasters buy straight from farmers. Fewer middlemen can mean a larger share for producers. That often translates into better incomes and stronger long-term partnerships. Relationships become just as important as transactions. Better communication often leads to better coffee. A growing number of cafés now proudly tell customers exactly where their beans come from. Some coffee bags even let you trace your purchase back to a single farm. Suddenly, coffee becomes more than a drink. It becomes a human story. Where you spend your money can influence who benefits from the coffee economy. Consumers have more power than they often realize, but even with better trade models, one enormous challenge continues to threaten coffee's future, and it could affect every cup you drink. Just as the coffee industry begins finding better ways to reward farmers, an even bigger challenge is emerging. Coffee plants thrive under very specific conditions. Even small temperature changes can reduce harvests. When weather becomes unpredictable, quality and quantity can both suffer. Droughts, floods, and extreme weather events make every growing season more uncertain. Warmer climates also allow harmful pests and diseases to spread more easily. A single disease outbreak can wipe out years of hard work. Meanwhile, production costs continue to climb. Fertilizer, fuel, labor, and transportation have all become more expensive. But higher costs don't always mean higher incomes. Another challenge is labor. Many young people are choosing different careers. Finding enough workers during harvest season is becoming increasingly difficult. With fewer workers available, farms become less productive and more costly to operate. Technology is helping in processing, but many parts of coffee farming still depend on human hands. Harvesting perfectly ripe cherries remains a task that's difficult to automate. At the same time, global demand for coffee continues to grow. Millions of new coffee drinkers enter the market every year. When demand grows faster than supply, prices often move upward. That may help explain why your favorite cup keeps getting more expensive. But higher prices don't automatically mean farmers are earning much more. The value still passes through a long chain before reaching the people who grow the beans. So what would it take to create a fairer coffee economy? The answer isn't a single solution, but many working together. Smarter farming, transparent pricing, sustainable practices, and informed consumers all play a role. In the end, one tiny bean connects millions of people, billions of dollars, and one of the world's most remarkable economic stories. By now, it's clear that a single coffee bean carries far more than flavor. It carries an entire global economy. Every person in the supply chain adds value, but not everyone receives the same reward. The biggest lesson isn't that cafes are overcharging, it's that value is created in many different ways after the beans leave the farm. Roasting, transportation, packaging, rent, employee wages, equipment, and branding all become part of the final price. A common myth is that farmers should receive every dollar you spend. In reality, every stage performs work that creates additional value for consumers. The real question isn't whether others should earn money. It's whether farmers are earning enough for the work they do. That's where conversations about fair pricing and sustainability become so important. Even small purchasing decisions can influence the market. Many companies now provide greater transparency about where their coffee comes from. When consumers value transparency and quality, more businesses have an incentive to invest in producers. Innovation on the farm can also improve yields, quality, and long-term resilience. New technologies are helping farmers make smarter decisions about weather, water, and crop management. Technology won't solve every challenge, but it can improve productivity and reduce risk. Meanwhile, global demand for coffee shows little sign of slowing. As more people discover coffee, the pressure on the global supply chain continues to grow. The future of coffee will depend on how these forces evolve together. And perhaps that's the biggest economic question of all. Without farmers, there is no coffee. Without everyone else, that coffee never reaches your hands. The real miracle isn't the coffee itself, it's the global collaboration behind every cup. Inside every sip is the work of millions of people you've never met. Understanding that journey changes the way we see something as ordinary as our morning coffee. The next time you buy a cup of coffee, remember, you aren't just purchasing a drink. You're participating in one of the world's most complex economic systems. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden economics behind everyday life, subscribe for more documentaries that follow the money behind the world's biggest industries. Thanks for watching.